I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Hello fellow nerds and crafters. Today I am working on this octopus mold for the Octopus Collab organized by Valerie from Resin and Roche. I hope I'm saying that right. I popped in some blue eyes just with some UV resin, and I have a ton of shells. I got all of these from the dollar store. I went a little bit crazy when I saw how many different packages there were. So I've got a bunch of different kind of shells in here, and I'm going to put them in the head of this octopus. The Octopus Collab takes place on the 8th of every month. Go ahead and check it out if you'd like to join, and I will put the playlist for everybody else in my description box. Please make sure to check them out as well. So I'm just going to start off with a little bit of resin with the Mayspring Dazzling Diamond glitter in it. So these shells are pretty flat, well, these two shells that I'm about to show you, but they have a really cool design on them. Focus camera. Here we go. And they're really pretty, and I'm just going to kind of make them, I don't really know which shells are which. I'm going to call this shape similar to like an oyster shape kind of thing. I'm just going to try and place it like an oyster. So I have two of these shape, and I'm going to put one on the bottom and one on the top, and then I'm going to put a couple different shells in between that. I'm also just dipping these into the resin off to the side first, just to give me a little bit of a slip so that they slide into the head of this octopus easier, and to make sure that they are fully coated in resin. When I dry fit this, it was easy to get in. Of course, when it's full of resin, it's slippery, so I had a little bit more trouble getting it in there. But I was trying to be very careful of the eyes. I didn't want to accidentally pop them out from where I've placed them. Once I did get that in though, the rest of it was pretty easy, so I just go ahead and keep filling it up with shells. My first thought was to take some of these small shells and shove them down into the clam shape that I made, oyster clam. Again, I don't know shells. But then I changed my mind and decided it would take too many of those to fill in that space, so I went rummaging around my stash of shells and found a larger one to pop in there and keep it open a little bit better and also fill in the space. Once I got the head portion filled pretty well, I added more of the resin so I could fill up the head. At this point, some of those smaller shells I had pushed in there were starting to float, and I should have again remembered this was going to happen. The little swirly shells hold pockets of air, it's hard to get those out without a debubbler or a vacuum chamber, I decided to go ahead and ignore it and start with these flat purpley blue shells. They're really pretty. The inside is prettier than the outside, and for some reason I decided to put the inside facing up, which is the bottom of this mold. But either way, it makes both sides pretty. So I popped in a few of those to take up the deeper portion space there. Once I had those in place, I started with the small shells again. Again, they have air in them, and I don't have a debubbler, so I think if I had a debubbler, it would pull the air pockets from inside the shells and then replace it with resin so that they wouldn't float, is what I think would happen. I don't know, because I don't have a debubbler. So that's my thought process on it. Maybe they're still really lightweight and they would still float anyway. But I spent a little bit of time trying to pull out the air, and I realized that really was going to take forever, and I didn't want to do that. So I started placing these individually into the tentacles and decided at this point it would be a two-part pour. Once these are set in place to where I want them, I will be putting this in the pressure pot and letting it start to cure. I'm trying not to go to a full cure because I don't want a layer line if I can help it. So I was going to leave this resin, which is Let's Resin, and I'm going to leave it for about an hour and a half, and that should get me to a thick gel stage so that the shells stay in place and I can pour a new set of resin over top of it, so the shells are not going to unstick and float to the top, and they will get covered by a new layer of resin, and you shouldn't see a layer line. It should all look like one poured piece. So this is me back doing the last coat I was talking about, and it's very simple. I have the Mace Springs Dazzling Diamond in the resin again, and I'm just going to show you, well, I tried to show you that there was a little bubble there that I wanted to poke so that I could get the resin down below. Not a good idea. It was too sticky at this point. It was in its gel stage, so it was very, very sticky. I also realized as I'm doing this here, I don't think you can see it in the video, but in person, as the time went along, the longer it was left out of the pressure pot, the more bubbles were reappearing into this piece. So by the time I put this back into the pressure pot, I was a little bit worried that there was going to be a bunch of bubbles in it because I took it out of the pressure pot. I've never done that before it's been finished curing, so I was worried there would be a bunch of bubbles. There isn't, thankfully, but in my haste to get this back into the pressure pot, I didn't make sure that it was fully level, so I don't think I show it, but I had to do another pour just to fill up some of the tentacles that were a bit too shallow. I've been having SD card problems, so I lost my footage of unmolding this, but this is what it looks like. It looks really pretty underneath and on top, but I had a fit of laughter, honestly. It was hilarious. These eyes do not match. I don't know why I thought they matched when I went and put them in there. They do not. They look hilarious. He kind of looks squinty, but everything else looks great. I'm really happy with everything else, and he's just kind of a funny octopus now. So here's the finished pictures. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, please check out the playlist I have linked in my description, leave a comment on this video if you could, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, bye!